Hello guys, here we are in Jogos channel and we are here with the amazing Ian Livingstone, one of the creators of the Fight Fantasy Game Book, and we are here in the Fighting Fantasy Book. Ian, such a pleasure to have you here. How are you?
Great, fantastic to be here.
Yeah, the first thing I really like to tell you is that it's really an honor to meet you in person. So such a great job that Ian and Steve have made for the past 50 years to promote the game books, the Fighting Fantasy edition. So it's really a pleasure to meet you. Congratulations for all your work and also the work you've made, not only the narrative, but also the illustrations, with big illustrations for that. And so I will start. We have here some editions from the past from Ian. And my first question is, Ian, what is your favorite game book?
Well, that's a bit like asking me what's my favorite child. And I got 4 children, so I can't have an absolute favorite. So
Okay.
I'll give you 4.
Four?
Same as my children.
Okay, yes.
The Wall of Fight Up Mountain is one of them because
Okay.
it was the first one. That was very emotional.
Yep. The first one.
Project Speed, and it got the whole thing moving. So,
Okay.
of course, that's close to my heart. From my own book, the other 3 are Death Trap Dungeon.
Okay, yes. We have here also the trap dungeon. Okay.
There you have it.
Yeah. Okay.
City of Thieves.
The City of Thieves. We have also here. Let's see. Okay. City of Thieves. That's it.
And Forest of Doom.
The Forest of Doom. Okay, so it means the first one, more or less the first one to be published or to be written, probably, no?
Yeah, but I've written a new one I'm very pleased with. That's just come out last year in England called The Dungeon on Blood Island. It's like a sequel to Death Trap Dungeon. I'm really happy with that.
Okay.
It seems to like it. It's great.
I'd like just to understand your relation with Steve Jackson. It starts in the beginning with the game book, so it was very before that. When it started.
It's good. Well, we were at school together.
You were in the school
In the
together.
1960s.
Okay.
And we went our separate ways, and we met up again in London. And we were sharing a flat in southwest London. And we started Games Workshop in that flat. We were the founders of Games Workshop with another guy called John Feig.
Okay.
And we launched Dungeons and Dragons in the UK. Then Bell Miniatures, White Dwarf magazine. But it was very small business then, but it grew. And we used to run these conventions called Games Day.
Okay.
And an editor from Penguin Books attended. We have thousands of people playing Dungeons and Dragons and other role-playing games. Said, "Wow, it's incredible. Would we write a book about this hobby?" We said, "No, we'll write a book that will allow you to experience that." Okay. Without really knowing what we were talking about.
Okay, yeah, you've got an experience.
Yeah. So she said, "Send us an synopsis." So we went back to what we're going to do. So we thought, how can you say the essence of a role-playing game? Turn it into book format.
Yeah.
With the book replacing the Games Master, and have a branching narrative with a small, simple game system attached to it for fighting monsters, for rendering counters, for everything you all love. So that's how we devised the term game book.
Okay, another thing is that I'm really curious because usually when we create, that's my way to create the book. The book, it means the paragraph. That's my way. But Jan told me about the way that you and Steve need to use at the beginning to create the connections between the paragraphs in a way to have all the consistency of everything of the game. How it was.
It's similar to you. I've never used software.
I never
have, never will. I'm kind of stuck in my way of doing it. So similar to that, I create a computer flowchart. So you write number 1, it splits, then there's 270 and 300, and you make sure you annotate everything, keep a record. Yes. Then you've got to make sure that every choice is meaningful and has real consequence. And then, as you know, there's a lot of time to bring the story back. So, because otherwise it just runs.
There is no, true.
And then you have to give people important information. So then you have to balance it and keep going backwards and forwards because you think about, I need a room here. I'll make the room locked. Therefore, we need a key. Where are we going to find that key? So you have to go back and find a room where you can put a key in a hidden place. So there's a lot of up and down as it splits as well.
Also, another very curious thing is that usually in each book we have 400 paragraphs. That's what tested in that you decided that 400 is the best number for a game book, or you had different ideas in the beginning.
Well, we never set out to make it 400.
Okay.
I wrote the first half of the Wall of Fighting.
Yeah.
Steve wrote the second half. And when we finished it, it just happened to be 399. So we just put in an extra paragraph to make it a nice round 400.
One of my favorite books. It's really that one. Also, this one that is now being published here also again in Portugal. I would like to ask you when this idea came from. Is that your first labyrinth, where it probably came out alive or not? You don't know exactly.
Yeah.
It was inspired by something in particular or not?
Well, again, there must have been a big influence of playing Dungeons and Dragons and getting through a dungeon. But of course, there's only one person, so I replaced the players you normally play with in the Dungeons and Dragons with non-player characters that you meet. And I wanted to have an emotional attachment to one of them, so that's why you became friends with From the Barbarian. And a lot of people were very upset. And we have to actually kill From. So only one person gets through. So it's quite cruel, but I don't think people are too upset by it. But my enjoyment is always taking people to where they think it's going to be great, so they fall on spikes and get killed.
And also we have this is the first one, but then we have the return where the champion challenge. That is the second one. It's even more difficult than the first one.
Yeah.
It's amazing how we have done it like slave that slave part at the beginning.
But it's very difficult to understand because someone can look at the same book and some people say it's too difficult, others say it's too easy. So trying to get the difficulty level is really difficult for me. But I'm delighted that Porto Editorial is publishing our books again.
Yeah,
It's been a long time since we've been going.
About Alancia. So this is something that it was from the beginning very clear in your mind, in Steve, how it is, or it was really developed. It's book by book. The continent.
Developed book by book.
Okay.
Because when we wrote the first one, Penguin didn't even know if they wanted a second book.
Okay.
So we just wrote this book, called it Five Top Mountain. Where it was is immaterial.
Okay.
But then we were asked to write two more. We thought, well, we need a world now. So that's how Alancia began. And it's been built ever since by adding new books. You add new places, new characters, new creatures. It's going to become a great world. And it fits on the world of Titan. And Titan's also has three continents. Atlantis, where my books are. The old world, where people sorcery. And Pool, where some of the guest writers put their adventures.
My final question is that almost 50 years after the first books, why do you think it's still keeping making new editions like here in Portugal, this one again? What do you think that this thing has so important? Still hard.
I talked to many of the readers who read them in the 1980s and 90s, now grown up, and they still have great memories of the impact they had on their imaginations and gave them agency and choice. It was their adventures.
Yeah.
They weren't reading about somebody else's adventures. They talked to me about it. I went down the dungeon. I killed the dragon. I fell down the pit onto the poison spike. And it's that challenging you when you participate. That's far more meaningful than being passive. So interactive is a much stronger experience.
From that. So it was. Thank you very much, and it was really a pleasure to have you here also again. And so keep attention on our channel also with some content about like fantasy games. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.